Hello guys, I'm here with Teerav.
Hi.
We're gonna record a different video today. It's gonna be a video for Brazilians, and the reason why I'm recording this is because
I thought you were gonna speak in Brazilian.
I will, I'm just explaining.
Oh.
So, this big YouTuber from Brazil called Felipe Neto appeared in New York Times, right? It's a newspaper or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's a major news article, journal, newspaper in America.
And since my boyfriend is American, I want him to react to Felipe Neto, give his opinion about what he's saying, and also judge his English. So I think this is gonna be a good video. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And this is our dog. She really wants to be in the video. So
Oi! Meu nome é Travis.
Congrats, parabéns.
Parabéns. Parabéns. Parabéns.
So we are gonna start speaking Portuguese right now. Oi gente, tudo bom? Então, se você não conhece o meu canal, eu faço vídeo de um jogo de Pokémon. Não é um jogo oficial, é um jogo online que você joga online mesmo no computador. E eu quero fazer algumas mudanças, eu quero só fazer meu namorado reagir. Ai, ele não tá entendendo nada. Fazer ele reagir ao Felipe Neto, que apareceu recentemente no New York Times. É a primeira vez que eu tô fazendo vídeo em português, eu não tô conseguindo articular muito pra falar em português, mas foda-se. Então ele vai reagir, aí ele vai também julgar o inglês dele e tal, essas coisas. Então, espero que vocês gostem. Então vamos lá, let's go!
Okay.
I'm a Brazilian YouTuber, and I create goofy videos and generate entertainment options for families all over the world.
So Belsa's actually already introduced me to Felipe Neto many times. I think he's funny, even though I can't understand him. So I already have like a positive impression of Felipe Neto.
Você pode confiar em mim. Or at least all families who speak Portuguese, which outside Brazil, Portugal, and Angola are like 5 families. But I'm not here to goof around in front of a brand new audience. And when the clown needs to speak seriously, you know the circus is probably on fire. Americans like to boast about being the world leader at everything.
Is that true?
America!
And since the COVID outbreak, you are leading in COVID deaths. That is partly, of course, thanks to your president, Donald Trump, who many of you claim to be the absolute worst head of state in the democratic world today.
This is arguable. I think in terms of I think there's no argument in his presentation. Like, Donald Trump is not the quintessential leader that you think of. Like, when he says stuff, you kind of just want to facepalm.
To the camera.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you just kind of want to facepalm when you listen to him tweet or talk. Going into his actual politics and his policies is like a completely different deep dive. But just face level, Donald Trump is pretty hard to deal with. So yeah, I can see from a world perspective how very polarizing he can be.
Well, I'm about to show you that the 200 million people here in Brazil have you beat, okay?
We're not number one? Where?
Under Brazil's dictatorship. He then rose to presidentship using statements like this.
Vamos fuzilar a petralhada aqui do Acre.
You wouldn't be able to do that really in America. I don't think. In America, you have like a two-party system. I don't know how it is in Brazil, but if you're a Republican, you say, "Oh, let's shoot Democrats." It doesn't really pan out that well. That said, Trump has said some very controversial stuff as well. So, and I'm just reading this. I'm homophobic, and I'm proud of it. That's not good either.
Did Trump ever said something similar?
No, Trump is very polarizing in his words, and he says Trump likes to talk a lot, so he gives a lot of excerpts for people to take on. My personal thought, I don't think Trump is homophobic, but it's, you know, he doesn't play to anybody's favor with his antics. Like he talks too much sometimes. So I don't think he's homophobic. I guess he comes off like that, but I don't think he is. He's never outright said like stuff like this.
You guys got pissed off because of a measly Trump rally in Tulsa 3 months after the outbreak in the US. But Bolsonaro does that all the time. He goes to demonstrations against the Congress. He goes to demonstrations calling for military intervention. He goes to packed city markets. He goes to military ceremonies. He goes barbecue hopping on a jet ski.
That looks like a lot of fun.
Against the Supreme Court.
Alright, that is kind of disgusting.
A bit disgusting, even with no pandemic. Much like Trump, Bolsonaro justifies his actions by professing to believe in miracle cures. For starters, they're both obsessed with the Shut up, I'm Brazilian!
I can't say it either, so...
Bolsonaro has asked the health authorities to forcibly change the official medicine leaflet of hydrochloroquine coronavirus as a prescribed use case. He's also...
I think it's really important and interesting that he points out that Trump talks about it, because in American politics, you know, you have one side saying, "Oh, Trump is going out and saying that you need to be taking this. This is a miracle cure." In reality, Trump hasn't said that it's a miracle cure. He says that it's promising and that he wants to see more testing on it. Even so, recently, you can fact check me on this, I'm pretty sure he's actually defunded the testing on it because it's coming out to see that nothing's come of it. But I do agree it was pretty irresponsible of Trump to come out and like specifically name something that is potentially a cure that didn't have the testing yet, because people did overreact and people did get hurt by trying to take the drug without knowing the consequences of it. So I think it was pretty irresponsible of Trump to do that. And yeah, your guys is worse. That's really, like, forcing it on people. That's really bad.
Also using the Army's industrial capacity to produce the medication while public hospitals face shortages of other drugs.
That's really bad too.
Painkillers. Bolsonaro also actively retaliates against any public authority who promotes safety. He fired a health minister after he insisted quarantine was a good thing. He fired the next health minister after he refused to prescribe chloroquine to all COVID patients. He then put a military man in charge of the health ministry and fired most of the technical staff who had been there for years. He's also trying to incite violence. In April, he held a cabinet meeting in Reage.
As like a leader, I think it's really important that you surround yourself with people that disagree with you, or at least challenge your opinions, just to give you a broader perspective on things so you don't like focus in. But I think it's politics everywhere in the world where leaders really try to surround themselves in yes men so they can promote their own ideologies. I just think that's just a world problem. What he's doing, what it sounds like Bolsonaro is doing, is really dangerous. But I'm not going to pretend like Trump kind of does the same thing. You know, he puts people into office that agree with his own objectives as well. So I think that's a political thing, and the only way you can change that, at least in America, is to, you know, vote who you want to be the one making those decisions.
He said,
that's really dangerous.
If Trump said that, how do you think Americans would react?
I think Trump supporters would say, "Oh, he's just saying it because like he wouldn't actually do it," and the opposition would say, "Oh, see, he wants a dictatorship." You see, America, with when you have these two two-party politics, you create extremes. So one party will administer to the extreme of one end, and the other one will administer to the extreme of the other end. So you have these people, when most people kind of like are in the middle or kind of like sway one way or another, but you hear these extremes and it just like, you know, people in the middle don't want to listen to it. So when I see stuff like this, it's really concerning, and I try to absorb all the information I can to determine whether, because like this clip could be taken out of context. You don't know that. But, you know, ministers, that is why I want the people to be armed. See, in my opinion, this is him saying like, there could be a dictatorship, but there wouldn't be a dictatorship if people could defend themselves, which is, what do I want to say? Independent, like a libertarian thought, like power to the people, like the people can stop the dictatorship. So I don't know. I can't really comment on this clip when if it's taken out of context.
Que a garantia que não vai ter filho aparecer para impor uma ditadura aqui.
And he didn't stop at words. He also took actions a few days later, upping the limits on how much ammunition we can buy and eliminating all gun tracing regulations. Finally, as the crisis worsened, Bolsonaro
in America, guns, like gun control, is a huge issue politically. It's huge. It prevents a lot of gun laws to take away guns, because there's a lot of people that don't want people to have guns, but it's against the Constitution. So the right to bear arms, the way it's implemented is what kind of arms you're allowed to bear. So some people argue, you know, a cup can be an arm, you know, because you can use it to attack someone. So I'm allowed to have this, but you can't have something that can like shoot a projectile, right? So there's a lot of laws that kind of like push into that, and that's how people argue, like, you don't need a gun in this society. My personal belief, I believe in the right to bear arms. I think everyone should be allowed to own a gun with heavy restrictions. I think there should be tracing. I think if you purchase a gun, you need to have a mental check to make sure, you know, you don't have a history of mental illness. You need to go through several training courses, and you need to pay for all of it. So to own a gun, I mean, it sounds a little bit capitalist of me, but you gotta have money. Like you have to pay for these mental stuff. Like, I'm not gonna pay for someone else to have a gun. They need to go through that themselves.
So to have a gun, they have to have a good mentality and money.
Yeah, but in America, that varies from state to state. In some states, it's as easy as going down to like a local Walmart and saying, I want to purchase a gun. They say, well, are you 21 or are you 18? And you say, yeah, and they give you a gun. I don't agree with that. In Minnesota, you have to go through a lot of requirements just to get a gun. And even then, there's some cities where the police chief can just say, you can't have a gun. They can literally like point specific people out and say, you cannot have a gun. So owning a gun in America is very complicated, and rightfully so. And in some places, it's not. So to get a gun, sometimes all you got to do is drive somewhere. And some states will just let you buy a gun with an out-of-state license. It's very complicated. You can get in a lot of trouble if you have a gun that you're not supposed to. They take it very seriously in America. I mean, it's a very complex issue, and it's interesting to hear people can just buy unlimited ammo. That's a little concerning to me, depending on what kind of ammo they're buying. Like, you don't need lots of automatic ammo. You know, you need, for example, if you go to a gun range and you're just shooting, sure, you can buy ammo there, but you don't need to be taking pallets of ammo home with you, you know. That's a little. That would raise a lot of red flags to me.
When Brazil reached 2,500 dead, a reporter asked him for a statement on it, and his answer was this.
Cara, quem fala de eu não sou governo, tá vendo?
When we reached 5,000 dead.
That's messed up.
Lamento, quer que faça o quê?
When the death toll got to 30,000.
Lamento a todos os mortos, mas é o destino de todo mundo.
That's messed up.
We reached 50,000 dead. He got musical.
That looks fake to me, like he's just trying. Like he's just putting on a face.
It looks like he's trolling, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Nothing, which was probably for best. Trump calls Bolsonaro a good friend. And that friendship is crucial to Bolsonaro retaining his popularity. It legitimizes Bolsonaro. You're the world leader in COVID deaths. And right now, you're leading us into the abyss. Your president has little proxies operating all over the globe. We are their casualties. So if you're wondering what you can do to help Brazil deal with our lunatic, please do not re-elect yours. This November, vote to keep Trump out of the White House.
That is a very powerful message. I think this was a great video and a great message. He's a very good storyteller. I don't like the idea of people outside the US commenting on US politics in a way or trying to influence the vote. I mean, I'm not against it. Like, I think he has every right to make a video like this, and if he believes that's the reasoning, I think a better approach would be to address the Brazilian people, to say, listen, like, this guy is not good, and you shouldn't be voting him just because he's friends with Trump, right? And I think it's a good message to say, like, hey, Trump supports this guy, and this guy does all this. I think that's a really good education for Americans. It's a good education for me. The issue I have with don't vote for Trump is, like I've been saying, America has a two-party politics system. You know, you have your Republicans and you have your Democrats. And Trump is a Republican, and coming up this November, Joe Biden is the Democrat. So when you say don't vote for Trump, you only have one other option, and that's Joe Biden. So as an American, if you don't like Joe Biden, you have to go back to Trump, which is very difficult. I mean, me personally, it's very difficult to vote for Trump because, you know, of all the things said in this video, it's very true. You know, Trump is not very good publicly. I mean, that's, you know, no one's going to argue that. But Biden is not exciting. I mean, Biden is a guy that doesn't even want to be president for a second term. That's like appointing a soccer coach or a football coach that says, I'm only going to be here for 2 years and then I'm out. You want a leader who is coming in energized and ready to do everything he can for as long as you will allow him to make things better. So when Joe Biden says, I only want to be in there for 4 years and then I'm out, it's very hard to vote for that because it makes me think that he's not excited to be president.
So you think Felipe Neto, because he doesn't know what's going on in America, it's hard to just not vote for Trump because the other option is worse?
I don't think Felipe Neto is blind to what goes on in America. I think he did a lot of research before he made this video. Mm-hmm. So I think he knows a lot about what's going on in America. And I think he knows the two-party system as well. He is looking out for Brazil. And I think that's awesome. I think everybody should look out for their own country. Just like Americans should look out for your own country as well. Like, maybe Trump is bad for Brazil because Bolsonaro is bad for Brazil, but you know, if America reelects Trump, that doesn't mean Brazil has to reelect Bolsonaro.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works in Brazil, but if you can get Bolsonaro out, like that, isn't going to do anything about that. Like they can't. Yeah, you can say Trump has like these little conglomerates around America, like around the world, but that's America around the world. Like, if you guys have corruption in your country, you need to like rise up and stop that. I mean, look at all the protests going around the world. You know, like it isn't just about Black Lives Matter. It isn't just about, you know, equality for
Feminism.
things. Yeah, feminism. You know, stuff like that. It's a lot of protests are about political freedom, and if you feel that there's corruption, you need to go out and stop it, or you need to vote against it. You need to speak up. You need to rise up. And a lot of places that's very dangerous. Like I know Brazil, a lot of parts of Brazil are not as politically advanced, I guess. Yeah, it's not safe to speak up. I don't know. I'm guessing.
I moved from Brazil when I was 16, and then I lived in England, so I was never able to vote. So I don't really know politics.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, I mean, America right now, it's almost scary to step up and say that you're a Trump supporter. Like there's a black guy that came out as a Trump supporter, and he got killed for it. So this is a very weird time, politically. This video just, you know, promotes a political conversation.
Yeah. And what do you think about Felipe Neto right now? Like,
I thought that was a beautiful video. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very impressive. It was very compelling.
anything to say about his English?
It's very good. Muito bom.
I know my English isn't very well either. I have an accent. You know, I'm Brazilian, and then I learned English in England, and now I'm in America, so my accent is like alien. But
Yeah, he has very good English.
better than mine.
Maybe. Can you say hydroxychloroquine?
Hydroxychloroquine?
Yeah, good enough. So, that's it. I hope you guys liked our review.
Ok, se vocês gostaram desse tipo de vídeo, de, sei lá, americanos reagindo a polêmicas do Brasil, por favor, deixa nos comentários que a gente faz mais. Porque é a primeira vez que eu tô fazendo vídeo em português, então eu não sei se isso vai ser algo muito bom, se vai ter muita gente assistindo. E como eu disse antes, não é o tipo de vídeo que eu realmente faço, porque geralmente é só eu jogando Pokémon, só comentando mesmo, e em inglês, né? Então tem um público diferente. Então eu não sei como é que vai ser, se vai ter gente nova ou não. Ele não tá entendendo nada, eu acho muito engraçado isso. Tudo bom?
Tudo bem.
Ele tá aprendendo a falar português, ele tá fazendo aula online, e é muito fofo. Então é isso. Se vocês quiserem também, eu posso fazer vídeo dele tentando falar português. Qual é o seu nome?
Meu nome é Travis.
So cute. Ok, então é isso. Tchau!
Tchau, tchau.